Today, I'm joined by a friend of mine, Rrok. How you doing, dude?
Chilling, man. I'm chilling. How you doing? How you been?
I'm good, dude. How would you describe yourself as for someone who's never heard of you?
How would I describe myself? I'm just somebody that's fun, chill, laid back, and that works hard as a mother. That's me, and I'm always gonna be around. You're gonna see me around everything and anything, always.
Yeah.
So
I feel like I met you as an artist too. Like I've always known you as an artist.
Yeah.
But you've also become this Albanian influencer, dude, on your journey, dude. So I'd love to talk about that. I've seen you do like these crazy festivals, so I want to talk about that during this podcast. Thank you for tuning in to the Mike Squires and Friends podcast. You can support by subscribing on YouTube or downloading on your preferred podcast platform. And definitely go do that because it helps us grow and I can have more incredible guests on the podcast. The Mike Squires and Friends podcast is proudly sponsored by DistroKid. Looking to broaden your musical horizons as an artist? Discover DistroKid. With its smooth and rewarding music distribution platform, DistroKid offers unlimited uploads while ensuring artists retain 100% of their royalties and earnings. Join the community of over 1 million artists who trust DistroKid to distribute their music across major platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, TikTok, Tidal, and so many others. Having personally used DistroKid since 2018, I can attest to their superiority amongst distribution services. Collaborating with fellow artists has become effortless, especially with the ability to easily send splits of songs, streamlining the creative process. With the DistroKid app, accessing these benefits is now more convenient than ever. Safely sign up or log in with 2-factor authentication, upload releases on the fly, monitor earnings, and withdraw funds from your DistroKid bank. Stay updated on royalties through push notifications, effortlessly share hyperfollow links, manage account details seamlessly, and track streaming stats from Spotify and Apple. Additionally, explore Mixia for professional-grade mastering, DistroVid for music video distribution, and Instant Share for secure file sharing with collaborators, producers, and more. The DistroKid app is available on both iOS and Android. Download it today from the App Store or Google Play Store to revolutionize your music career. Visit distrokid.com/VIP/Mike Squires to get 30% off your first year membership. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Mike Squires and Friends. Just kick it off with how you ended up getting into music in the first place.
Yeah, how I got into music, it was that's actually a great question. I honestly was just so depressed. I was like, I don't know what else to do. I don't know how else to explain myself. I don't know how to explain emotion, explain feeling. I was never good at it. As an Albanian man, we're not meant to show emotion at all. So being a kid who is emotional, it's like, shit, what do I do besides play sports, besides this or that, And I'm like, you know what? My best way, I was going through a rough time. I said, let me start music. And one day I just started freestyling on vacation in Florida. And I just was like, you know what? I think I'm pretty good at this. I was like, I want to start writing. As soon as I came back 3 days later after that vacation, started writing. And it just became a thing after that. And I just started practicing, and just eventually got, I should say, all right. I shouldn't say great or anything like that. I think I'm good for somebody that came into that music scene the way I did, but I think I worked pretty hard at it, and it was fun. That's how I started it.
Yeah, and you were telling me that you used to practice at Murda's spot too, who's obviously a friend of the podcast. He's been on 2 episodes here. Yeah. So maybe we could talk a little bit about how you guys connected. Yeah,
Murda, honestly, he was the first person when I was telling people that I wanted to make music. Everyone was like, you got to work with Chris Murda. He's the best in Stamford. Honestly, I think he was the only thing in Stamford at that time because we didn't really have a music scene here. And that's how I met him. I met him through a mutual friend, and I started working with him almost on a daily basis. I literally used to pay for studio time. Anything I had in my savings, it was going to studio time at that, time in my life. And I was in there every day. I was making songs that were never going to come out. I was making songs that would come out. I think out of all the songs I've ever recorded, I think maybe 30 came out of his studio, but I've definitely recorded way more than 30. And it was just a crazy time, man. It was fun.
Do you find that when you started recording those songs, it was helping with some of the depression that you were feeling?
Oh, totally. Because I was finally able to explain myself, which is why one of my biggest songs is Explain Myself, and then my podcast is Don't Gotta Explain Myself because of the song. But it was just an easy way for me to finally put my expression out there. I never knew how to. So music was really kind of a lifesaver, honestly. I didn't know where I was going prior to that. I was in a lost I was in a lost transition after that, going through a bad breakup, bad period of life. It's like, I don't know what to do next. And the music kind of saved my life.
Yeah, I'd be curious too, like, you know, obviously you're Albanian. How did that affect your music process? And, you know, were your parents supportive? What does that look like?
You know what? When I first started, it was a little weird. My parents were just like, what do you mean? Like, what is this? Like, we understand you love music. Like, I was always the biggest music fan, blasting music in my house from rock to rap. But when I started it for myself, my parents were like, huh? Like, who? They didn't want to put me down. I don't think they put me down ever when it came to the music, but they were shocked. And I don't think they knew I was serious until they started seeing that I was literally spending every single dollar I had at a music studio, buying beats, meeting rappers, going to venues. And, you know, at that point, then they were like, okay, you're doing it. We're very supportive. And then that's when I made a song with Fred the Godson. And
I was going to bring that up next, dude. You beat me to it.
And they were just like, oh my God, my son is really serious about this, you know? And yeah, and that's how it kind of, you know, they supported me from that point on. My brothers always supported me. I had 2 older brothers who were at the studio sessions with me all the time. And these are guys with families and kids and everything. And they were coming to my studio sessions, going to work the next day, traveling with me to the city, New York City, New Jersey, Massachusetts, whatever it was, they were there for me. Those were like my bestest friends during that whole music period.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you start music, you have friends.
I know what you're saying, dude.
You have friends who are, I'm going to support you. I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to do whatever you need me to do.
And then start fading off one by one, dude.
Oh, yeah. No, and they were just falling everywhere. And I'm like, oh, my God. They still tell me, I support you. But I never seen anybody at a music studio with me. Never had anybody, unless I called them for a music video. Yeah, they came for a music video. I did have friends who came for that. But in terms of like studio time, doing things, paying for things, I was like, you know what? I know it's all on me, but at the same time, you would kind of expect people that really say they support you to come and support you, at least show the moral, you know, aspect of it. And honestly, I never really seen it.
I always say that the people around you won't support you until other people do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like until you're, and I'm sure maybe you feel that way too, where it's like maybe people loop back around, especially with all the social stuff that was like social media stuff.
Little bit. I mean, I'm so good with people and I keep a friendly relationship no matter if somebody says no to me or not. I'm that kind of person where I don't, you know, I'm not just going to cut you off because you said no to me or you didn't show up for me. Like, I can't do that. I understand there's realism, you know, but no, my relationships now, obviously, maybe I've become a little bit better because my Instagram obviously is the way it is. It's blown up to what it is, but I've still always held like a really good positive relationship with anybody that's kind of in the entertainment world here in Stamford or in Connecticut. So
yeah,
it hasn't been much of an issue in terms of that.
Yeah, I don't want to skip over this because we can't miss this, but obviously you mentioned your song with Fred the Godson.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace,
You
man.
know, how did that song come together? And if I remember correctly, you did a video as well.
Yeah, I actually had him come out to Stamford and we waited all day for him to show up because he was shooting like 3 other music videos in the same day. And he started in like wherever he
Talk
was.
about hustle, dude.
Yeah, no, he was a true hustler.
Yeah.
And when he told me, he was like, I'm shooting 4 videos that day. I was supposed to be the first person he was shooting with to I went to being the last person he was shooting with that day. So we were supposed to start at like 9 a.m. He didn't come till like 3. Like, I was like, I hope he shows up. All my friends were there. Everybody was there. So if he didn't show up, I just would have felt like an idiot, you know, having people stay there. But yeah, he was cool. I honestly messaged him one day and I was like, I want to make music with you. You have a mutual friend in your history of life that's a mutual friend to me. And I was like, it would be just cool to meet or make it happen. And he did. He called me back and was like, let's make it happen. He was like, I'm not going to charge you a single cent. He was like, I actually liked your song. The song was awesome. Dude. And the moment I saw a smile out of Chris Murder's face when we recorded that song is when I knew it was like a good one. Because all the time I would see he's a bit interactive, maybe not. Because I can understand he works with musicians all day long, good or bad. And when I saw like a smirk out of his face, like, damn, this is good. That's when I knew that Fred would like it. And like a couple of days later, he actually called me on FaceTime as I'm driving to work. And he's just like, we got a hit. This is a great song. He's like, I'm actually a big fan of this. He goes, he was like, I'm killing it. I'm going to go kill it. Jumps in the booth, calls me back, not even 20 minutes later. And when you see his chicken scratch, the DJ, it was Heat Makers. shows me his writing, and I couldn't even read the writing on his paper. I'm like, how the hell does this guy even rap? You know, but yeah, after that, he sent me the song. He was like, dude, this is a great song. And then I had him come here. We connected, made a lot of music, and it was cool. I know he passed away during COVID, but we were supposed to do another like 5-6 song project, actually.
That's crazy,
he agreed to me. I still have the text message today. He agreed to me and said that, you know, I'm down to work on a little LP or whatever you want to call it, mixtape. And then he got sick eventually and passed away to COVID. But that guy was a talent, man. He was one of the best rappers I think that ever lived.
What's something that you learned from Fred with working with him or even just talking with him?
You know what? He was a very humble person, and I realized that because when he came to the music video, like, he treated me really cool, like as if he knew me for 20 years. And I think the most important thing was just being humble. And when you see what kind of people in the music world appreciate him and like him, you can tell that he was a humble person. So I was like, you know what? I'm just always going to be me. I'm always going to be humble, and hopefully people love me. If they don't love me. If they do, then better for me, you know? So that's kind of what I learned from him, and just hone in on your work. You know, he was one of the best MCs that was alive at that time, and honestly, that guy could spit about anything. So he told me, just hone in on your work, just be serious about it, just do it for the reason why you started. So, you know, when you start music, you do it because you're motivated, you want to do it, and then eventually people fall in love with the money, they fall in love with this or that. And he was like, just do it because you love it. So that was a cool thing to hear from him. And I was like, you know what? That's awesome. You know, even though he's making his money, but it's still, you know, he's got to that level where he can make the money and still do it humbly and love it. So that was something I definitely took from him. I like that.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like, you know, music's also a job. You know what I mean? Like, when you get to a certain level, like, if you're really going to take this serious, you got to figure out, we kind of were talking about this a little bit before the pod, you know, the best ways to like monetize, you know, so that we can like just make the most money from our craft, because you know, it's tricky sometimes.
Yeah, we were talking about social media before this, and I'm like, I have this huge influence on social media, but you really don't see an income from social media unless you're putting yourself out there as a business and you want to go and do this or that or this. It's the only way you're going to make money from it, you know? So you really do, even in the music world, you have to put yourself out there. You have to outwork that other person that's outworking the million other people in the United States, because that's all it is. Music is grind. If you don't grind, you're not going to make it.
And I said this before to you off the pod, but like, I really believe that hard work will definitely outweigh talent 10 out of 10 times.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You could have someone who's way less talented, but is willing to put in the work and grind through, and they'll see the results, versus the person who's like a superstar but isn't motivated.
Yeah, you see somebody on TV, for instance, today, and you're just like, I'm so much more better than this guy. Why is this guy over there? But you don't understand, that guy probably went through hell to even get there.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to realize that. When I first started music, I'm like, why is this guy here? I'm so much better than him. I'm this, I'm that. But I didn't really realize that till I sat down one day and I'm like, maybe that guy did work hard as a mother. Because now I'm here at year 7, year 8 now. Finally stuff is starting to kick off. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I see that path is not easy. So now I try to warn everybody else. I'm like, guys, the path is not easy.
It's a grind, dude. No. It's like, it's different. It's a different breed, because it's like your whole entire existence becomes.
This is your life now. Especially you're Mike Squires. Now, like, everybody knows you. If they don't see that you're doing something creative or musically or something in the entertainment world, they're like, what's wrong with him? Who is he? Where'd he go? But they are used to seeing you on TV, and now they want to see more. They want to keep seeing more. They want to keep seeing the rest of you, you know?
Yeah, because it's like you kind of get people like used to it. And, you know, it's honestly a blessing, though, because it's like, it's hard enough to convince people to view you how you want. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, especially when you're starting out, it's like, I'm an artist. You're like, some people might be like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, whatever, dude.
Just another one.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, and I think that just goes with like people, it's hard. Sometimes when you're starting, people aren't going to take you serious, and you just got to work through that.
You got to prove them.
Yeah.
You got to prove them. I mean, look at this. The coolest example for me to use here is somebody that has the same name as me, Rrok. When he came into wrestling, he was the guy that came in as the wrestler's son who was already a talented person. He came into wrestling and didn't have no face. Nobody knew who he was. They laughed at him. They thought he was corny. And then one day he kept working. He just kept working, and he became The Rrok, the guy you see today. It took him from that point, 10 years to get there, but he got there. And now look at him. He's the biggest star in the world. So that can happen to anybody, dude. You could have those $3 in your pocket. You could have $3 million in your pocket. You still have to outwork everybody.
Yeah, and you never know where your career can go. I mean, dude, The Rrok is fucking Maui from Moana. You know what I mean? It's like, that's
what he is today is crazy.
It's insane, dude.
300 million followers, 400 million followers. Is one of the most famous people on the planet. But that could be anybody. That could be me or you.
Yeah.
You just don't know until you just push yourself hard enough.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about your Instagram following now, right? Because how did this, it feels like you start posting these Albanian memes, dude, and then all of a sudden it just like started coming. Like, from your perspective, how did this happen?
So I was we were all going through COVID. I think COVID was probably everybody's worst 3 years of their life. For me, it was definitely one of the bright spots, but also one of the worst periods of my life too. And I started using platforms like TikTok and Instagram because I didn't know what else to do, and that's what everybody was doing. And I just started posting positive videos. And they weren't even Albanian related. At first, it was just positive videos. It was me doing like green screen stuff, talking about sports or just anything positive. And I was literally like a month away from just shutting down my social medias completely because I was just fed up. I was like, COVID's still going on. I'm still depressed as hell. I don't know what to do. I'm working nonstop even through COVID. And I don't know, one day I posted an Albanian video and it just blew up. And luckily at that time, I had a couple thousand followers because of the music already. And yeah, it blew up. And then ever since that day, I just was like, shit, I got to keep this up. If I don't, I'm just going to fail. And it was funny because right before that, I had somebody tell me, like, don't delete your social medias. Something's going to happen very soon. You just got to be patient. And that happened a month later. And the video the next day went to like 5 million views. Then I just kept it up. Kept posting positive messages like I was always doing. So people like that too. But I just kept going, and I never stopped. And now here we are 2 years later, I'm doing it. And I'm 111,000 followers as of today and like 15 million engagements monthly. So it's been pretty nuts.
It's insane, dude. What was like the biggest moment of success you've had during the process? Was it immediate or was it like something that happened along the way?
Honestly, the success now I think it's now just starting to kind of hit I shouldn't say its peak, but it's just starting to hit
up.
Yeah, it's ramping up. And I think now people see like, hey, this kid's not a bozo. He's not some sort of schmuck. He's actually about what he's doing. He's helping people. Because that's been my big thing too. Like Albanian people, the ones that live here and outside of the countries, yes, we do well for ourselves. We make a living. But people back home, they don't make much of a living. You get paid $200, $300 a month. So for me, like my biggest goal is to help people. So when people see that I was helping people, sharing people, doing other things like that, I think people took it to like, this guy's actually a good guy. He's not a just crappy guy that's doing this for money, So that's kind of been the coolest part of the success, and it's still growing. I'm helping people with their businesses, sharing their businesses. I'm getting ready to start ramping up my content too, where I can actually start going to business and start promoting them and doing things like that. So we're right there. We're figuring it all out. I did not expect my Instagram to blow up the way it did.
Yeah, what's something that's changed in your life since it has?
Everything. Everywhere I go now. Not even just Albanians, but there's people like even in Stamford that are like, I've seen your podcast. And I'm not even Albanian. I've seen your podcast. I'm like, oh, cool. Or I'll be in Trumbull or somewhere. And they're like, I've seen you on the internet. I've seen you on social media. I think that's been the coolest thing is just getting recognized and obviously getting free stuff. Because I get like a whole bunch of free clothing, like what you're seeing here. Most of my stuff,
nice, dude.
Most of my stuff I wear now is just all stuff that people gift me or stuff that I'm sponsoring or promoting.
Yeah, and they hope that you wear it in like things like this, like what we're doing right now, so that more people can see it.
I know my friend's gonna love me for this one. I wasn't even trying to promote it, but it's become like my favorite hoodie.
But that's the best case scenario too, where you have a sponsor that you genuinely, like for example, I actually turned down multiple sponsors before DistroKid hit me up just because it didn't align with my brand.
Yeah, Distro's awesome.
Dude, well, to me, it's like important though. Like, I don't understand like how I could like. Obviously, there's a money incentive in the whole thing. Yeah. But it's like,
when you said DistroKid, I was like, DistroKid sponsor. What?
Oh yeah, and the cool thing about like I used them since 2018. Yeah. You know what I mean, or 2017. So I'm like,
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
That's what I'm saying. It's a good, like, when it's actually a product you use, like, I feel better, like, pushing it. You know what I mean? So,
and they're easy to use as well and everything, too. I've never had any problems
but
with
to bring
this
it back to, the hoodie that you're wearing looks incredibly comfortable. You know what I mean?
man,
Like, it looks like you genuinely fuck with the hoodie.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
I'm not Albanian, but it's like this, right?
It's like that. Yeah, there we go. I like that. Yeah, we're gonna get you to one of our parties or something.
Let's
man.
go, dude.
We gotta do it. We gotta do it.
I'll be like Speed, just like looped into the culture, dude.
Dude, he's honestly been a very cool part to the whole culture thing too, because he came out of nowhere. And honestly, I think somebody on his team is probably Albanian, but like out of nowhere, he just started kind of representing us too and shouting us out. And he actually met the Prime Minister of Albania. That was the only Prime Minister he's met. And it was like, what the heck is going on right now? We just like out of nowhere just started kind of blowing up in the media world, and it was cool. He's really cool. He's probably my favorite influencer.
Yeah, no, and there's like a ton of like, and maybe people just don't even know that they're Albanian, but I know Dua Lipa is obviously Albanian.
Dua, Baby Rexa, GASHI, Action Bronson.
I didn't know Action Bronson. I met Action Bronson. I didn't know that.
He's my favorite rapper. He's Albanian. There's a whole bunch of stars. There's
Rrok, dude.
Yeah, there's hopefully me coming up soon in the music world again. You know, I'm trying to get back to that. But going back on Dua Lipa, she was somebody that's awesome because she's also from London and she's also from Kosovo, where I'm from. Now, Kosovo is also Albanian. They're Albanian-speaking people. But I actually got to perform at her event.
That's where I was. You're beating me to all my segues, dude.
we're both podcast hosts, so it's like, I'm like, is he leading the show? No. It's interesting.
Yeah, let's talk about the festival, dude, because you performed for 40,000 people?
Yeah, it was 40,000. I think it was just slightly right under that, but still, whatever, 40K.
We're calling it 40K,
Yeah, we'll
dude.
call it 40K and have fun. Honestly, what was the coolest part about that was having actual artists like Dua Lipa and GASHI, who was at that show. They were all there watching me. So as I'm performing, I'm like, I had my sunglasses on. It's midnight.
How does the opportunity even present itself? Let's run it back a little bit.
Yeah, you're right. I'm getting excited.
I'm excited too. I don't mean to cut off the story because everyone's tuning in. They're ready for you to say, but I'm like, well, how do we get to this point?
How did I get to that? After I kind of blew up here with the whole Fred the Godson situation, I started kind of making more music, and I was like, you know what? I kind of want to take my own risk, and I quit my job here. I quit everything here, and I said, I just want to go to Europe. I didn't make any plans. I didn't know who I was going to meet, who I was going to see. And I had a couple people that I had kind of made songs with already, and I was like, I'm just coming to Europe. Let's shoot music videos. And they're like, oh, okay. So I like went to Germany, London, Switzerland, shot music videos that were unplanned, unprepared, anything, and I got them done. I made music with people there. And eventually, while I was in Switzerland, I went to an airport randomly to go pick up my uncle who was coming back from Kosovo at that time. And while I was there at the airport, he comes off the plane and he's like, I have the two most famous artists from Kosovo in the plane with me right now. He's like, they're about to come out right now. And I didn't want to be a fanboy, fangirl, whatever you want to call it. But when I saw them, I was like, I'm a huge fan. So I went up to them and started talking to them, and they're like, we already know you. I'm like, huh?
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, and I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, we've been watching you on social media. We've actually seen your music. We've seen what's going on, and kind of just hit it off with them. And then not even 10 minutes later, after they leave the airport, I get a text message from a producer. Hey, I'm a producer from Switzerland. Those guys you just met in the airport, I just picked them up, and I want you to come to my studio. And I was like, oh, yes. So like a week later, went and started recording in Switzerland. And once I met all those guys, they told me, come down to Kosovo. And my whole goal that year, actually, because I didn't say it, my whole goal that year was to get to Sunny Hill Festival. Like this was something I kept telling myself, I want to be at this festival. I want to be at this festival. And like I said, I quit everything here just to go there. And eventually I got to that point where I was able to perform there. And luckily, or thankfully, I should say, to MC Crashaw and Lyrical Sun, who were those two prominent figures, they were the ones who were able to get me on the show. And I thank them with my life for that, because that was probably one of the coolest moments of my life, performing in front of 40K of my own people, which is, I don't think, something that many people get to say. So it was awesome. I mean, it was a cool experience that meeting all these people. Miley Cyrus was the headliner of that 3-day weekend.
Insane.
So it's a pretty awesome show for people who don't get to enjoy concerts and music, for them to be able to go to a 3-day event for $20 and to see 100 different artists from all around the world. I think it's the coolest thing ever. So I was glad to be a part of it.
It's insane, actually, if you think about it. Like, I don't even know how the promoters make money on that.
Dude, I don't really think they make any money. I think she does it literally as a her own funded thing,
which is really dope too, dude.
So she goes back every year. She's actually doing it this year too. So I'm hoping this year I want to be more on the media side of things. So I'm trying to get into the behind the scenes there and be like the interviewer and stuff and meet everybody. So trying to make it happen. But the music thing was quite a ride, man. Not knowing anybody while I was out in Europe was scary.
Yeah.
But I did it all, and it was not an easy journey.
Paint the picture for me, dude. There's 40,000 people, sea of people, a crowd. You are standing side stage. You have a DJ up there.
There was a DJ up there, and
walk me through this. Walk me through the performance, dude.
So we're already hearing the other performances going live because we're the second to last before the headliner of that night. It's the rap night. The rap night was can't remember.
Was GASHI on that night?
GASHI was the rap night. He was the hip hop guy that night, and we're right second to last to him, and you're hearing all the music go by, and I'm just stepping on stage, and I'm like, oh my God, everything's shaking. I'm not nervous, but everything's shaking, and I'm like, what is happening? Am I really here? I felt like an outer body experience. And when you finally hear our music kick on, I was with a group, and you hear one of the first artist songs pop on, and you're like, shit, it's our time. This is it now. No mistakes, no nothing. I didn't even rehearse. This is the first time I ever performed.
Insane. 40,000 people.
First time I ever performed. And it was a song that I just made. I made the song 3 days prior.
Crazy, dude.
So I was probably the only one on stage that wasn't using, what is it?
In-ears?
Not in-ears, but just playback in general. Yeah, and so I was repeating my words and stuff. I didn't even know some of the words. I'm like, oh, crap. But whatever, I just was not in my head. But once you heard the beat drop, you just seen everybody go crazy. And it was the coolest thing to see people going crazy to my song. And I'm like, oh man, what is happening right now? But it was just shocking. I honestly do not have words for what that feeling was.
I was going to say, what's something that you learned from that experience?
What did I learn? Just have fun, man. Have fun. I think it was cool to see even my two favorite legendary rappers from back home having fun. And when they were putting their arms around me and everything, it just was a cool thing to see that no matter how old you can get, no matter whatever it is, just have fun with it, because it's a lifelong thing that you're going to remember, and it's that moment. And for it to be on camera, for it to be on TV, for it to forever be embedded there that I was on stage is awesome.
Yeah, to bring it back to, your family, because I asked how they thought about when you started. What did they think when they saw that?
So, interesting thing about that, when I was in Europe that year for 9 months, luckily, literally a day before the show, my brother surprised me. He came and he took his own personal vacation instead of going on vacation with his wife and kids, came to Europe just for the festival.
I'm sure his wife loved that, dude.
You know what's crazy? My family was so supportive of the fact that I was there on stage that there was not a problem. And when he came out there, it was just so awesome because I had him on stage with us, and he's by the DJ booth. And it was just cool to know that they supported me. My mom was super supportive. My dad was supportive. I was crying the whole week calling them. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. And for me to be told by my favorite rapper, hey, you're going to be on stage with us. It was just it's such an overwhelming experience, but overwhelming in a great way, Which I find this,
so just so I get the timeline right, this happens before your social media starts going crazy.
Oh, this is way before.
That's what I'm saying. So that's kind of interesting to me because I didn't know the timeline of it. So it's it's cool that this happened prior to, before things getting some more momentum.
I got tired of people here kind of saying that you'll never make it, you'll never do it. Nobody from Stamford ever does anything. Nobody from Connecticut ever makes it. It was really annoying to hear that. And I'm a person that I do not like to hear the words you cannot or you do not, you won't, because this just makes me feel like you're putting a cap on me, and you can't put a cap on me.
You just can't take it personal. And a lot of times when I hear people say that or have doubts in it, I'm just Well, the reason you're saying this to me is probably because you don't think you could do something
Exactly.
like this. You know what I mean? I know what I could do.
Exactly.
I'm going to build a studio in the mall because I said I'm going to do it. You know, I'm going to do a 50 states project because I said I'm going to do it. Yeah. But like, you know, you just got to do the thing that you're saying you're going to do. But yeah, a lot of times it's people's own insecurities.
It comes full circle to the beginning. You just have to work for it. And the people, when they're handed stuff, are obviously going to be lazy. So for people like us that are not handed this thing and you're doing this thing 24/7 now and you're living, breathing, eating shit in this, like this is your life, you know?
Do or die, dude.
And the fact that that person didn't take that step because they didn't see the potential in themselves, it's not my problem. Now I see the potential in myself. I'm going to work to be the best I can be. And anybody who's around me, I will motivate them. If you think you have something, whatever it takes, I will tell you, hey, go do whatever you think you can do because anybody can achieve whatever they want to achieve. So the moment that I hear somebody, oh man, that's hard, just stay away from me. Like stay away from me completely because I don't want to hear that. It's just negativity. And when I look back at Sunny Hill Festival, like that was all manifested. Like I kept manifesting that.
You said you were going to do it and you put yourself in the position to do it.
Dude, and when I posted that day on Instagram, on Facebook, because I had my brother going live too, everybody, even people that I seen that were crapping on me, were messaging me that day and were saying,
that's how it happens,
dude, you made it. Wow, like this is awesome. And at that moment, I didn't feel like I made it anywhere, but I was just so proud to be in that moment. But I was like, it's cool to see now people actually recognizing that Rrok actually did something now. So that was like my moment of, all right, now I got to come back to doing something awesome. And yeah, that all fell flat once COVID came around.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. So COVID hits, like what happens there?
COVID hits, I come back right at the end of 2019. It's the end of November. I basically have 1 month here to finally go find a job because I just spent all my life savings on music and on 9 months being in Europe by myself. It was trying to come back to find a job. Coming back a month, 2 months later, COVID striking. As soon as I just started working. So now we're on strike because of COVID, not working. Nobody's working. Everybody's sick. There's so many things going on. And at that point, my engineer that I was working with here in Connecticut, his name is Emerge. Shout out to Emerge. He's the man, one of the best producers ever. He moved to Texas, and he was going through a transition period at that time. There was no studios open here. Chris Murda, I think was going through his transition of
to First Class,
getting a new studio,
building the terminal, dude.
Yeah, so there was nothing. There was literally nothing, and at that point, I was so depleted mentally, and I was so sad about everything and how it happened. It took a lot out of me, you know, and not being able to record anywhere, it kind of ruined my vibe. And then throughout those like 2-3 years, from 2020 to about 2022, 2023, I did like songs here and there whenever I could get to a studio. But that was really where that went after that point on. And it was kind of sad for me too, because I love the music so much, but there was just so much going on in life, you know, between personal life, health, all these things. And it was a lot because even at that point too, I was losing weight. I had lost like 200 pounds. So I was coming back to like a complete new life, a complete new me, I was even trying to figure myself out because I just completely changed. Like everything my life just changed.
Did you have like
it was hard.
My bad, I don't want to cut off, but did you have like a moment that like you felt like, oh, I need to make a change, or like a moment where you're just like, this isn't where I want to be, I got to do something?
Yeah, once it got to the point where I really I went through a really bad breakup in that COVID time is when I finally started saying like, I need to do something because I'm about to lose my mind. Like going through a bad breakup, going through jobs, you know, you're working through COVID. This is a crazy time. Mentally, this is probably the craziest time of my life. And through that, I was like, I need to make a change. Otherwise, I'm jumping off a roof tomorrow, you know? And literally, that's what was going through my head. And then just, like I said, I started making those positive videos towards the end of 2023. Going into 2024, I was making positive videos talking about, you know, just mental health and all that. And I think that started helping me and helping others. And then eventually, you know, we get to the whole posting an Albanian clip and then that blowing up. And now here I am. But that period of time was rough. It was really rough knowing that I couldn't make music, and it was breaking my heart. Like there was nights where I was crying because I'm like, damn, I can't even go to a studio. Like, what am I doing? When am I just going to write music? I had no ambition to write music at that point. I had no ambition to do anything. I was so like distraught by this moment that I just
It's hard though too, because
Yeah.
especially when like you're mentally, and I like feel the same way about this, where it's like if you're going through bad things in your normal life, it's like really hard for you to be like, oh, my life's a mess over here, but I'm going to prioritize making music right now.
It was really hard. It was really hard. I will say I still have a difficult time now. Still trying to put pen to paper now. I've had like brain fog ever since COVID, and trying to get rid of that has been really difficult. But I'm finally starting to see the strides now as I'm getting more in a positive note in myself mentally and everything. I'm starting to get now that stride where the other day I wrote my first song in 2.5 years.
Let's go, dude.
Yeah. So when I was telling you before I walked in here, like I'm getting ready to do music again, I'm starting to feel that way that I did when I first started making music. And when I start feeling like that, that's dangerous, because it's a good dangerous, because now there's no way of me stopping, you know? So I'm excited. I'm excited that I was able to write a song for the first time in 2.5 years. I was emotional that day because so hard.
What do you think motivated you to do it?
Seeing change in myself. I think seeing change in my whole life, and that I'm finally kind of in that place where I wanted to be, you know, and finally just hitting the stride, man. I finally feel really good in my life. I feel like everything's going good, besides some health related issues that I got right now, but otherwise everything's good, and I'm blessed.
Yeah. I don't want to like put you on the spot, but what are some of the health related, like, is that something you'd want to talk about?
I mean, I have a lot of issues that I've been going on with. I've been in 2 really, really bad wrecks in my life, in car accidents. And I've just been dealing with issues where I lose feeling in my arms, feeling in my legs. So imagine trying to wake up in the morning one day and you just can't even move.
The numbness. No,
Yeah.
my sister flipped her car a couple months back. So she's okay, thankfully.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I've never dealt with it personally, but I've been dealing with it through her. And like, you know, I see her get very upset and distraught from
Right
it.
now I'm on pain medicine. That's why you can see me moving my neck, because otherwise I can't turn to the right. I can't look up. Like I have to like go like that. Like, yeah, it's terrible. So I get migraines every day. There's days where I have to just sit in the dark. Like there's days where I just missed work just because of my health issues. That, and then the losing the weight, the stuff. You know, your body goes through changes. My body went through a lot of changes the last couple of years, and it's been rough, but I'm getting there. You know, I'm getting back to it, and I finally feel great after losing 200 pounds too. That takes a massive toll.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I started my fitness journey probably like 2 years ago. And like, even from that, like and maybe you could talk to this too, but for me personally, like the mental of it has been huge. You know what I mean? And like, I mean, what are some of the things that like motivated you to like, you know, lose the weight, and some of the benefits you have since you have?
I just wanted to see myself live past a certain point. Like I didn't want to be that guy that dies at 30 of a heart attack because he just liked eating too many cheeseburgers. Like, you know, I didn't want to be that guy, because I see the potential in me, and like, look at where it's brought me to, you know, what it's paid off for, you know? So me not giving up on myself has also made me become the person I am today. And I help a lot of people in that sense too, because I use my own depression and things like that, because I'm big on the mental health stuff. I still suffer from depression all the time, but I work with people all the time and tell them, like, you can do this. Let's work with it. I can help you, give you the steps. So now being able to kind of use all the problems that I went through to help other people makes me feel even more of a better person than anything else, than the music, than anything. So that's been a cool thing too. But it's definitely been a strong mental journey. But working out, using things like saunas and things like that, where you can just meditate without being on a phone 24/7, because that's my life now. My job is on the phones and emails and calls all day. My personal life is social media 24/7. So you do have to eliminate yourself from that.
Dude, is my phone nearby? Here, I'm going to show you this. You're going to get sick to your stomach.
Oh, what is it?
This is crazy. I'll show you in real time.
Your hours on your social media? You should see mine. I have world records.
I now have, if you see, my phone is locked up now.
If I showed you my running time on social media, I'm at like 16 hours a day, guys.
Can't beat me, dude. I promise you're not going to beat me, dude. This is almost embarrassing to show. I swear to God, it doesn't even make sense. I promise you. Where is it? Screen time?
I showed somebody my phone the other day. They're like, dude, how do you have 19 hours of screen time?
You ain't fucking clocking in. You ain't clocking in these hours, dude.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Nah, you ain't clocking in these.
Oh my God, yeah. I've never seen 24 hours on the phone before. Shoot, I thought I had everybody beat.
Yeah, 18.
Yeah, bro.
1833 is pretty bad.
But you know what it is? It's really bad for us, man. It really is. Because there's some days where I'm looking at my phone and I'm like, I hate this thing.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Like, I hate it. I just want to. There's so many days my mom's looking at me and I'm like this, looking at my phone, and I'm like, I just want to throw my phone, Mom. And she's like, what's your problem? I'm like, I'm done with this.
Yeah. In my defense, though, like I think mine, like if I leave my laptop open over there, that counts too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why I don't think I'm really 24 hours, but
I'm deep in it, bro, every day.
no, me too, dude. And like that's something we should talk a little bit about too, because you know, I really am making an effort right now to kind of separate myself from the phone because, bro, I mean, to me, that's just as an addiction as a lot of other shit too.
It's a bad addiction. It's worse than anything. And people don't realize how addicted they could be to a phone. You can be watching a TikTok video and 30 minutes later, you're still on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I see that with friends. I see that with family. And I'm like, man, this is like disgusting.
It's sad though, too. I feel sad. I was like, yo, what the fuck did I just do? You know what I mean? I just scrolled for fucking scroll god, dude.
I scrolled for those 30, 45 minutes when at this 30, 45 minutes, I could have went outside for a walk and seen some vitamin D and seen some birds and some bees and some whatever, you know? And now you're like, yeah, I just wasted my time doing nothing.
Oh, yeah.
But you think you learned something from it because you laughed for 5 seconds. But realistically, what kind of like level of learning are you getting from that? Like nothing at all.
Dude, yeah. And I like, because it's funny because, you know, I am constantly posting on like social media, right?
Yeah.
And people sometimes confuse that with me being on there all the time.
Me too.
You know what I mean? Where I'm like, my goal right now, if you were to look at my screen time, like per thing, like you probably see Instagram is pretty low actually. Yeah. You'd see like the apps are actually pretty low because I just can't, like, you know what I mean? I'll get sucked into it and I can't do it. So it's like, I just basically post, you know,
look at it for 2 seconds.
Look at it for a second, leave, come back in a little bit though to respond to the comments. You know what I mean? But it's also like, you're in the business of it. You know what I mean? Where it's like, it's a double-edged sword where it's like, one, it can be like this addictive thing where you get sucked into, but on the other hand, it's like, I literally only have a career because of this stupid thing. Yeah, I mean,
and that's what sucks too, because I'm like, I didn't seek for my page to blow up. Like I was literally doing it just for people to literally just make people feel good because it was literally the roughest part of my life. And for it to blow up the way it did and now where I'm at, I was telling people the other day, I had a meltdown video the other day where I posted, I'm like, guys, I'm sorry, but my page is blowing up so fast. You guys want so much out of me. I don't know what to do. So sometimes you do have to take a step back, let people know like, hey, chill out also because I'm human. You know, people have to understand you're human. You can only do so many things also. So I think it also, from a self perspective, you do have to take a step back sometimes and realize that, hey, we're in reality. Life, business, all this is sometimes not always as important because you can get, God forbid, you can get cancer or something tomorrow and you're gone. So, you know, we do have to get in touch with reality sometimes and remember that, hey, we're human. We need to see some sun. We need to be in the wilderness. We need to breathe some fresh air. And I think everybody's just so caught up on social media, trying to be cooler than the next person, posting a photo where you're smiling, but you're probably in the worst position of your life right now and nobody knows because you're just playing in the same game that everybody else is
The social
playing.
media, you're posting the best version of yourself.
Exactly.
That's like, it's funny that you say that because Jet came in here and we did a video where he's showing the mess of my studio. Like literally this podcast setup is kind of the epitome of like the one clean corner of the room.
I love it.
Like I've
I'm a mess.
Yeah, no, I've said this on the other podcast that was here, but like my studio is a wreck right now. It's like crazy. It's a work in progress.
Process,
you know what I mean? If it was like this 24/7, that would be different. But like, you know, I'm in the middle of like,
then I'd be like, you got some issues.
Yeah, you know.
But no, I can see the vision. I mean, looking at it here now, I can see what it's going to be in the next couple months, and I think it's going to be awesome. The fact that you even have this space right now for us to do this podcast is pretty awesome.
Oh, sick, dude. I know. I'm hyped.
I love it.
I'll plug the Stamford Town Center. Thank you guys for having me in your lovely vicinity.
He's like, I'm like, where do I meet you? He's like, meet me at the Stamford Town Center. I was like, Stamford Mall.
Yeah, dude.
You know, but it's such a like hidden gem here.
And it's so cool, like, too, because you kind of got like the hallways were cold, but
dude, you know,
freezing. You find like, people are going to get confused because, like, when I say I'm at the Stanford, I think a lot of them are like, oh, he's a retail front. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's what people assume. But when I was, like, you know, finding a place, because they showed me a couple I was like, dude, I can't be in a retail front. I was like, I can't be just shooting a podcast and someone walk in and be like, what's this place?
That would be crazy. If you just had a live public podcast every single day and music studio that people could just walk by and see what the life is like.
Yeah, maybe that's a play.
That's
down
in the future.
Road. Yeah, right now I just
ideas. This is my artist stuff in my head, dude.
No, I want to be tucked away, dude. I don't want anyone to find me back here.
Honestly, I think
find me, dude.
This is gonna be awesome once it is fully done, and I can't wait to see what it's like. But I think it's gonna be a really cool place in here, man.
Yeah,
I wish you luck.
I want to bring it back to you, dude. What's some of the best advice that you've ever gotten?
Best advice I've ever gotten. That's a tough one, man. That really is a tough one because I've gotten so much advice from so many smart, cool people. Honestly, I think just like I said earlier, just being yourself. And I think you want to remain yourself till the day you die. I think being the best version of you, even if you're vulnerable, whatever the case is, just be you. You know, on my social media, I'm very vulnerable. I talk about me. I talk about my feelings sometimes. I talk about other things. And I think when people see the real side of you, they get to understand that, you know, we are human. Yeah. So the biggest takeaway that I've ever taken in life is just be you, no matter what the situation is. Be you, be honest, and be real.
Yeah, and people it's a huge theme on this podcast is just like be yourself, but it's like people will resonate with you more, you know, no matter what you're trying to do in life, you know, it's like, and people could see the front, you know what I mean? People see it and they're just like it. And like, I do have sympathy for some people that put up the front a little bit where it's like, maybe you're doing it because like you're not comfortable in the situation and you think you need to do this, but like,
that's why I just be comfortable in your own skin, man. Be comfortable in who you are. Yeah. If you think you look funny, this, that, whatever it is, just be comfortable in your own skin. It doesn't matter what other people think. It really does not matter because you've had the funniest looking people have made it on TV. You've had this or that. People with no talent make it. You just have to be happy at what you do what you do, and do it like you love it all the time. That's it. And just focus on you. Never focus on anybody's opinions. That's been the one thing I think I've learned myself. Don't pay attention to negative comments. I don't even look at negative comments at all. I don't look at negative messages. I've never to this day answered a negative message or comment. So that's the one thing too, just learn how to just cut everything off besides your vision.
Yeah, no, and you really just got to focus on yourself, and you kind of said it before where it's like just better yourself a little bit each day. You know what I mean? And
every day's a new day.
That's what's going to get you to the results you want.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some goals, dude. You seem like someone who's a very goal-driven person.
Yeah, that's I've always kind of been. I mean, as a kid, I played sports. I was always an athlete, captain of football teams and things like that. So like I've always had a work ethic. And then once I kind of like graduated high school and all that, I honestly didn't know where I was going in life. And I had to like refigure my whole life out. And once I kind of got into the music, that's what really just helped shape my whole life together, because I started getting to a point where I'm just a just do it guy. And it was like, no matter what it is, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it. I don't care if I'm broke. I don't care if I'm sick. I don't care if I'm hurt. I'm going to go to the studio. I'm going to go to this. I'm going to do that. And it just became that. That's been my thing now ever since that. And losing weight and going on stage at Sunny Hill Festival in Kosovo, it was literally what it was. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, you seem like someone who like has these like endpoints in mind and like really gets to them no matter what, dude.
I will do whatever it takes. I will do whatever it takes to meet who I got to meet, to see who I got to meet, to do whatever I got to do for me to make my dream come alive. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm chasing my dream. You know, a vision is a dream. And I will do whatever it takes to find that dream. You know, and I don't care whatever it takes, I will be there. So, yeah, I mean, that's who I'm always going to be. And if hopefully one day when I got kids, that's hopefully how they are. I mean, my parents were immigrants, ambitious. I'm an immigrant. So I think it's part of my immigrant, you know, backstory of just moving countries, just having to get to it. We never had anything. So that's kind of been my mentality my whole life, is just get to it, because nobody's going to hand you anything. So that's honestly my biggest motivator, is really my family, because if I didn't have them, I wouldn't know what hard work is, you know? So they've been my biggest inspiration. And if I didn't have them, yeah, I'd totally be lost.
What's some advice that you'd give to a younger self?
Younger self is, always go with your first decision.
I like that.
People second guess themselves, and I was somebody always to second guess myself, no matter if it was in school, if it was with friends, if it was with work. I think you just have to be confident and just always go with your first decision. They always say your heart makes the first decision. then your brain makes the second one. Usually follow your heart, because your heart is always going to be the most honest thing to you. Your brain is always going to tell you, oh, no, you can't. Oh, maybe you can. You're always going to question yourself with your brain. But with your heart, it always gives you your first answer that you want to know.
I think I read something recently where it was along the lines of like, let your heart decide what it wants and then let your brain get you how to do it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
because your heart is your intuition. You will automatically know if something is good or something is bad. When you meet somebody, you can instantly feel if somebody's a good person or a bad person.
Yeah.
It's an energy thing.
No, I agree with that 100%,
Exactly.
dude.
So if you have that energy that you can conquer the world, you can do whatever it is and be positive, it's going to remain positive, and you're just going to be, kind of living off that. So, I mean, go with your first decision. It's the most easiest thing. You'll never make a mistake on your first decision. Once you start to second guess yourself, that's when you make a mistake.
And I think you'll save a lot of time in the process too, because I think there are people that like will second guess themselves to the point where they just don't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I have that downfall too. I have that downfall. And I think that's where sometimes like my mental health comes into play. And when I realize that I'm getting into this type of mood, I don't want to do it.
Like
I don't think
funk.
I can yet. Then that's where I'm like, shit, I got to go work out. I got to go do something, because this is Rocky from a couple of years ago and I don't want to be there because it's a scary, scary place. And yeah, that's what I tell myself. Just go with your first instinct and you will 100% of the time be happier with your decision.
And I think a lot of it is learning yourself too, where it's like now you have like the intuition and like self-knowledge to know like, oh, can't go down that path again. We're hitting the gym. We're hitting the gym is a big one for me, dude, where it's like I'm not going to be like, I get anxious sometimes. You know what I mean?
I have anxiety.
Yeah. Where typically it just comes from me like, oh my God, I just took on this whole project. Like, because especially with like the projects that I take on, and it's self-induced anxiousness.
Yeah, you put yourself through it.
That's what I'm saying. I put myself through it.
That's because we're artists. We're creatives. We want to see a picture painted on the wall.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what the picture is. You're going to want to splatter it with paint.
And sometimes you got to challenge yourself. And like, to me, the only cool things happen when you do challenge yourself, right? So it's like, it's like the 50 States project, dude. I put it out there.
It's crazy that you're doing that.
Nuts, dude. And I was talking with Jed earlier. He was here right before. But it's like, and we were talking about it a little bit too, where it's like, I forget the exact way you asked me about it. You asked me something along the lines of like,
I was like, how are you getting to it? Like, how are you enjoying it? Like, it's interesting because I've never seen anybody take on a project like this.
It's never been done before. So that's why I'm like,
I even asked you, I was like, how far along are you on? And you're like, I got 30 states. I'm like,
30, wow, dude.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we're getting to the end zone at this point. It's happening. You know what I mean? But to the point though, it's like I was talking with Jet earlier, and it's just like, it's like this huge, intense project. And it's just like,
it's not easy.
No, it can be very overwhelming sometimes. And like, it kind of goes back to the social media thing. They see I'm doing a song with an artist from each of the 50 states. You know what I mean?
They don't see the behind the scenes.
Yeah, me behind the scenes is like, yo, I've been hitting this dude for 3 months now, just trying to get an 8-bar verse, not even a 16. You know what I mean? Like, please, like, come through. Cause it's like, it's one thing when you do a project that's like only involves yourself, right?
Yeah, it's much easier that way.
Much easier, but when I'm like getting other people involved, it's like, it's a tall task.
And then you're trying to shoot videos, you're trying to do this and that. And it's a different ballgame, man. It's a lot of work. People do not realize what the entertainment world like really cares. You really have to be crazy to do what we're doing.
Oh,
like we're mentally not stable.
Oh, for sure, dude. As I like look at my
like this screams unstable.
Oh yeah, just the fucking manic Mike Squires over here, fucking dude. But
you got a whole skull figure over there. I'm like, dude, I love it.
No, dude. But the thing is, it's like when you're doing crazy shit, like when you have all these crazy ideas, like there's a little bit of like, crazy you bring to the table too, where it's like.
Do you ever ask yourself though, because I ask myself this all the time, do you ever see an end game? Like, do you ever see a part where you're not chasing the craziness? Because I don't feel like I ever will. And I feel like my mind is just always going to want to chase something crazy that I know I can achieve, but it also is probably not achievable. And like, I'm always pushing myself through this. Do you ever see a point where you're just like, all right, I'm done chasing whatever this is?
I know my game plan for the foreseeable future, which, helps me a lot. I'm very I'm somebody who like really needs to kind of have an idea of what I'm doing. Otherwise, I'll get into a position where, like not like a full depressed, but you know, I'm like,
Yeah, you're hurting.
yeah, I don't like, it's hard. I have to have some sort of direction. And that's something that I got to figure out for myself, you know,
Yeah.
like whether it's like, okay, from here to here, we're going to work on this. Like, that's why that's a great plus of the 50 States project. It's such a massive project that it's like,
And you're giving yourself, and you don't have a timetable on it either.
Yeah.
So it's not like you need to.
well, I do, but
you kinda do.
the public doesn't know this, but I definitely do.
You definitely do, but in reality, though,
I could take longer.
to the public's
yeah.
eye, you really do not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're giving yourself that pressure, so now it's making you feel like, oh,
anxious.
I have to.
That's where it all comes
But
from, dude.
realistically, you really don't. And for you to even get those 30 artists, and what, you've only done it in a year?
Yeah, 30 in a
Dude,
year.
that's a crazy feat. Like,
Oh, yeah.
that's not easy. I know how hard it is to get artists to work. It's not easy.
Yeah, and I'm very proud of the project. You know what I mean? But it's just like, my next goal for it is just to stick the landing. You know what I mean? I have the songs lined up. I'm really proud of them.
Yeah.
Just stick the landing, crush it. And then I already know that I already have at least ideas of like the next thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you're pretty good at ideas. I've seen you now for the last few years. You're kind of, I see whatever you kind of talk about usually gets done. Also, we're both kind of have that similarity. But I've been seeing that in your aspect as well, man. And you've come a long way too. And
I appreciate it.
It's good,
that,
man.
dude.
It's good to see. I like to see other people in our community working because we were always known as like people that come from money or this or that. It's like, oh, you guys don't really do anything. Like you're
Connecticut gets a bad rap compared to like New York. Like we always get like low broed by New York.
Yeah, or Massachusetts.
Mass, you know what I mean?
And I'm like, Connecticut has its own world.
But I feel like it really is on the rise. And I think more and more, like I'll say it right now, we got the best pizza. Always and forever.
I think we have some of the best food.
Yeah.
I think we have some of the best food. I think we have great artists. I think we have great, I shouldn't say nightlife because nightlife, I don't think it's that exciting here yet.
Yeah.
Well,
it's on the rise though.
It's on the rise.
We're on the rise.
I do like Stamford and what Stamford's done in the last couple of years with the Mill River Park.
Insane.
And sadly, they're taking away Live at 5, which has been a staple here, for the last 20, 30 years or whatever the case is. That kind of sucks to see things go like that, but to have Mill River Park and having concerts there, like seeing 50 Cent last summer, I never thought I would see 50 Cent in my life, and I saw him in Stamford in my city. I'm like,
dude,
this is crazy.
I don't know what time you got there, but they put us on that show last minute, dude. So
Did you really?
I opened up for 50
That's right.
second,
That's
dude.
right.
Bro,
That's right.
Yeah, it was hilarious. We only did a quick song or two.
Doesn't matter.
No.
Got up there.
But bro, it was one of those things where it was like, they were like, yo, because the thing is that I think in their heart, they wanted to put me on the show, but they didn't know how like logistically this was all going to work out because, you know, there's a lot of moving parts in these shows.
Yeah, it's
so
not easy.
This kind of goes to a case of, you know, stay ready. You know what I mean? I just stayed ready, stayed out the way, but stayed ready, you know.
You're like the sixth man.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Just like wait to see like
Wait his turn.
So, you know, they greenlight it. They're like, yo, you want to go up there and do a song before 50? And of course I'm
Hell
like,
yeah.
So I go up there with my homie Dos is Brandon, who you know, Dos.
Brandon's the man.
He's with me. I'm like, yo, you want to go up there? Let's do some love.
Shout out to Brick House, by the way.
Yeah.
Dude, Brandon's my guy there.
Yeah. Fucking so Some Love is a very poppy love song, right? Mm-hmm. This crowd are hip hop heads.
Yeah,
they're there
for gangster rap.
They want that real rap. So I get up there, goofy looking Mike Squires, dog.
I can imagine.
Yeah, to a crowd of like, you know, mostly like old heads, rap purists.
Heads, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I'm over there just like with my hand, and I'm like, yo, I cannot wait for this song to be done. I mean, they were fucking with us. I swear to God, they were rocking with us. A good majority, but it was like one of those things where it's like, all right, bro, you ain't 50. This is 50 states, not 50 Cent, dude.
Yeah,
like,
it is a different level, but at least you got to do what other people, didn't get to do. So that's awesome.
No, it was sick, and now I can say I actually. Okay, I didn't meet 50 Cent, but I was in the same room with him. Nothing more intimidating than being in a room with 50 Cent and G. I was pretty intimidated. Well, so here, let me paint this picture. This podcast is going a little off the script because I like focusing on my guests typically, but this is a fun story.
Cool, man. It's cool. I don't mind.
So 50 Cent's not feeling good that day. He actually was like sick that day.
Oh, sure.
And
okay.
he shows up and he's in the green room. Now, there's two parts of this. So in the green room, there's no running water in this because it's like at Mill River Park, right?
Yeah.
And there's like
It's just a man-made green room that they just made for that night. Yeah.
Well, and it's not that he had water bottles, but for the tea, he needed tea. And for the tea, he needed hot water, right?
Shoot.
So I'm like, so now me and Eric, who was another person that was helping out with the event, have been given this task to get
tea
for 50 cents. So it was like,
great.
It was literally the light bulb in the egg situation from SpongeBob, where he's tasked to go get the tea from CVS and I'm tasked to go get the hot water. So I'm like full sprint running, like, running. I run to Curly's, which is like, for the people listening who don't know, it's like a diner that's across the street from Mill River Park. I go in, they're not busy or anything, but I'm just like, I need you guys to stop what you're doing and I need hot water right now for 50.
They were like, what's wrong with this guy?
Yeah, he was like, yo, this fucking manic psycho dude. Like, so I get this. So now I have a thing of, I have like a tray of like 4 cups of hot water that I'm like sprinting with this across the street.
Oh my God.
And yeah, keep in mind, there's mad people because it's like a 50-cent show. So I'm like running.
Where's his assistant?
It was me right there in that moment, dude. Well, no, his assistant, the dude that was there, he'd open up the door. He'd be like, yo, where's the tea at? You know what I mean? Like,
the assistant asking another assistant.
Yeah.
Crap.
Bro. So,
oh man.
So we ended up linking up, got him the
Rappers.
tea. Dude, I hand 50 cent this tea. I'm so nervous in this situation that I don't make eye contact. That
is hilarious.
I just
dude.
I felt like it was like, I felt like it was like a Medusa situation where it's like, if I would have like turned to stone.
Turn to stone.
Yeah.
Oh,
keep in mind all G units around too. I was like, yo, like as much as I'm excited to
DJ Woo Kid and all those guys.
Yeah. Woo Kid and I are actually cool now,
really?
Dude. Yeah. Well,
he seems like a cool guy.
Well, let me rephrase that. We're not like homies.
But cool.
We've texted twice.
He seems like a cool guy.
Dude, we were bro, real quick, and then I got to pull this back to your podcast, dude, because we're going. This is what happens when you have another podcast host on the fucking podcast, dude.
It's just a conversation.
I know you Uno reversed me, dude.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool. Trust me, I don't mind,
dude. So Who Kid, dude, me and him, I forget what we were talking. We were just laughing our ass off, dude. Behind the scenes, we were just having a great time, and there was a camera guy who was filming it. And there's like, he sent me a video of the video, but I was like, dude, like, yo, this is the greatest video ever. Send me this.
This is amazing.
Bro, he just like would not send me the video. I was like, dude.
That's messed up.
And keep in mind, I am a video guy. That's how I enter the game. I'm like, damn, dude, I feel betrayed by my own kind, dude. I was like.
That stinks.
Bro.
Yeah, because these kind of guys, those guys are just like.
I was like, dude, you have no idea what this clip means to me, dude.
Yeah, and they don't realize that because they're probably around so many people all day long. And they're just like, he's just another guy. He's just another fan or this or that. Yeah, so that kind of sucks that you didn't get that.
Yeah, but no, I talked to Who Kid once after that, and I have his number. Maybe I'll get a beat from him in the future, dude.
You never know. I mean, he's probably one of the more successful known DJs in the world. He works at what? Shade 45.
Yeah, dude, fucking bro. The most iconic tag, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, he was when 50 Cent came here, I honestly thought that was the most coolest moment ever in Stanford's history because I don't think any Stanford's had anybody that big ever.
I can't talk on this on the podcast, but I will tell you the politics behind this off the podcast, dude, because there's an interesting story that I know about, but I can't talk about it on the pod, so I'm just going to let the viewer suffer as I move on to this next segment. And I'm going to ask you, I'm going to start bringing this to the end zone, but I want to know, like, what do you feel like one of the biggest moments of success, like in your, maybe just even in your life too, has been so far?
Besides the music stuff and everything, my most successful thing, I think, is... Damn, you've been asking me some really tough questions today.
It's all good, dude.
I wasn't ready for these tough ones.
No, you're good. My bad, dude.
What's been the most, I think, unique thing to me is, like I said earlier, maybe just being myself throughout this whole thing and having people see the vulnerable side of me, having people see the funny side to me, having people see the artistic side to me. Because now I got people that literally message me on a daily basis about each and every individual thing. I post something that's funny. Oh, you've made me happy because today I just lost my mom or something. Or, hey, you just posted a positive quote. You just changed my day. Like I did not expect this. You're doing something. So I think just helping other people. My one sole goal in life was always I want to be that guy that always can go back home or even here and help somebody. It doesn't matter if it's with money, doesn't matter if it's just with words. I think that's been my favorite thing throughout my whole life, honestly, is just being somebody that's a positive influence in somebody's life. And the one moment where I feel like if I am a negative influence to somebody in their life, I'm sorry. But I've always meant to be somebody positive, and that's something that I cherish too, is giving somebody, a positive reinforcement no matter what they're doing. Even if I know you're probably that somebody that doesn't have the talent, I don't see the talent or something, I'll still tell you, go get it. Just live.
Because you never know, because you can always get better too. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, where it's like you don't need to be the most talented, you just got to outwork.
I wasn't good when I started. I just practiced. I wrote. I literally listened to beats for hours. My mom would come into my room at like 5 a.m. because she'd hear me rapping and repeating other raps from other rappers just so I could learn their cadence and their flow. And she'd come into my room at 4 or 5 a.m. Why are you screaming? Why are you yelling? Why are you... I'm like, Mom, I'm practicing. So, I mean, you do have those moments where you do got to practice to be good. No basketball player just picks up a ball and can shoot a ball like Michael Jordan. No. Nobody can just throw a ball like Tom Brady. You have to practice. And, that's the one thing I will tell everybody. Just work hard at it, because you never know. You never know who you meet. You never know who you cross paths with. You never know who has the same vision as you and probably likes you just as a personality. You can be loved as a personality. That's the one thing I have learned. People will love you more on your personality than they'll love you for your skill, for your talents, for anything.
My dad always said people work with people because they like them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you could be the best art, and I've said this on the podcast, but it's like you can be the best at your craft. But if you're a dickhead, like that's going to hurt you more than anything, dude, because people just won't want to work with you. It doesn't matter how good you are.
That's 100% true statement. And I've always said, the moment I hear that somebody says they dislike me, I'm always going to question it, because I'm like, I've never heard it in my life, because that's how much I feel of a positive person I've been to anybody I've ever met. So, yeah, I mean, I would never want to be known as the guy that, he's lame because of this, or he's just an a-hole. Or
sometimes it's out of your control though too, because a lot of the times, like I find when I'm dude, I've gotten some questionable messages in emails,
I get them all the time.
Dude. Yeah,
I get them too.
Where it's like one time I got an email of someone calling me the devil, dude, which was like, I'm like, damn, dog.
How?
I was like, we haven't even ever hung out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at least give me a chance before, like, I was like, damn, I'm just.
You know what it is? Those people are the people that just like to hear themselves talk, or like to just give somebody a piece of their word. And because they're so negative with themselves, they don't like themselves, they're not happy. That's why they're telling you.
Or there's a fucking screw loose, dude.
Or that too. There is. And I will say this now, as my page has grown. Yeah. I will say I do get some crazy messages, and I'm like, bro, I've never seen you a day in my life.
Before we get out of here, dude, what's one of the craziest messages you've gotten that you can remember off the top of your head that you'd be willing to share?
Oh my God. As recently as the other day, I had somebody like threaten my whole life, family, and everything off of something that literally made no sense.
Oh, that's terrible, dude. That's not funny at all. That's that's really bad, dude.
I get those randomly and very weirdly, but it's like, I can't help what part of the world I come from, and there's other surrounding areas that like us, don't like us. I can't help who I am. But me as a person, I know I'm a good person. So when I get a message like that, it's like,
dog, what the hell?
Yeah, it throws me in haywire, because I'm like, I'm not used to ever getting anything negative. I don't really get much negative. I never have, even through the music. So it's just eye-opening to see that a human can think things like this.
Oh, dude, it is crazy, dude. And it's like, I mean, we could have a whole podcast just talking about hate, dude.
Oh my God.
But I don't even want to focus on the hate.
I never want to focus on the hate. And the one thing I want to say to everybody is, guys, whatever you have in mind, just focus on your dream, focus on your goals. No matter if it's you just waking up to go to your job, that's a 9 to 5 serving coffee. Just do whatever you do with a passion. Do what you do with love, and just enjoy yourself, enjoy life, because life is short. And if you do have a dream, like a music dream like this, or you want to be an actor, just take it. Go do it. You never know what you could find. Start it as a hobby, because that hobby can then lead to it making you money. It can lead to you for success. Just take those risks, take those chances.
I feel like you've been beating me to the punch my entire podcast, dude. Because
really?
I was just about to ask you. No, you're good. Because I feel like I was about to ask you what's your like message to the world, and I feel like that would have been it, dude.
That is my message to the world. It's just, never forget who you are, where you come from. Don't let anybody ever bring you down, because words are just words. They don't mean anything at the end of the day. They mean something when you spew them out, and you spew them out in positivity. That's when it means something, or a negativity. It's always, your words only mean something when you're the one saying them. So if you're saying something bad about yourself, you're more than likely going to bring yourself down. If you're saying something positive about yourself, you're going to bring it up. So nobody else's opinion should ever
People
matter.
underestimate how much power are in their words. You know?
A lot of power. And the day I performed at Sunny Hill Festival was the day that I realized that God was real. Like, I was like, this is real. I'm manifesting this and I am here. And that moment when I got off the stage, I cried like a little baby. So
been there.
Yeah. So it was one of those things where it's like, you know, you just have to live in motivation and positivity and just do what you want to do and just be happy doing it, because nobody else controls your life but you. So do what makes you happy. At the end of the day, you're the one that's dying in a casket by yourself. So no matter what, just love yourself, have fun. That's it.
Rrok, if people want to connect with you or find you, how can they?
You can search me up on pretty much all my platforms on Instagram, and my Instagram is IamRrok. My name is, that's how it's spelled in my language. It's I am Rrok, but everybody calls me Rrok. My YouTube is at the moment DGXM Media, because it's based off of my podcast, DGXM Podcast. So yeah, those are my pages. I'm on TikTok as well as I am Rrok. You can follow me there. Otherwise, yeah, that's all I've really got. I don't really use too much other social medias. I think Instagram has been my best friend for the last 2 years now, and we're just going to keep riding off that wave, man.
Let's go, dude. And we're going to have to get you back in the studio to track a record, dude. I think it's time.
Yeah, we got to get some, we definitely got to get some walls in there, but
yo, way to expose me like the interior of this, dude. No, the sheetrock comes on Sunday, dude.
I can't wait.
Oh, let me say this before we get out of here. This is technically the first podcast shot where my podcast is going to be specifically.
That's you know what, and I'm honored to be that. Like, I don't know if I'm the first. Yeah,
you're the first one in this spot. We shot one over there, but that's not where the podcast is. The podcast
this corner is the cool corner, guys.
That's what I'm
right?
saying. Oh, we shot over there, dude. Well, sorry, Nick Rose. Dude.
Honestly, I appreciate it. I'm happy that I'm here. I love being on podcasts. I love talking. So for me to even be a podcast host, hopefully I can get you on mine very soon as well.
Yeah, no, let's do it,
It's
dude.
not just Albanian related. Everybody thinks that my thing is just Albanian related.
I had a very close Albanian friend growing up. So like, I'm not Albanian, but I'm cultured.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have spin-off episodes too, where I start interviewing people that are more closer to me that are not Albanian, because I want to give people also in my community here a chance to be seen.
I'm going to try to channel, is Te Dua mean I love you?
Te Dua, yeah.
See?
Te Dua.
I'm cultured, dude.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. If you got a girlfriend or if you see a girl, just say Taha Zamran.
So I don't know what that means.
Say it to your girlfriend and she'll love you. It just means you want to eat her heart out, which is like a very endearing thing that Albanians say. Taha Zamran.
No, that is nice, dude. That is a nice thing. Well, thank you for coming on the pod, dude. This was great. I'm sure this is the beginning of a lot of other things, dude.
For sure. I think it's a beginning of a journey for me, for you, for everybody that's going to be watching and seeing this. And I think Stamford and the people here, we have a lot of potential to be really great. And I think we're the I guess the starting foundation to this. And I hope it just keeps elevating from this point on, man.
Couldn't have said it better myself, dude.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
My guy.
Appreciate it, bro. I appreciate you having me on. And Albania, I'll see you later.
Wait, let's go on.
Same time. There we go. Shout out. Bye, guys.